Mindy Kaling seems dedicated to the single life. So why did she stir speculation by posting about a possible wedding while wearing a Vera Wang gown? In an interview with the New York Times Magazine, Mindy Kaling fought back at cultural stereotypes about Indian parents, making it clear that anyone looking for stories about how she'd been locked in her bedroom and forced to study as a kid was going to be sorely disappointed. Kaling said, "My parents' personality type is not to stop anyone from doing anything, and going into comedy wasn't something that I decided to try when I was 26 after having gone to law school." In fact, Kaling started down the comedy route when she was just a small child. At 6 years old, I was writing comic plays at home. My parents saw me absorb Comedy Central. I was watching Dr. Katz, not just Saturday Night Live. The budding comedian's parents were well aware of where her ambitions lay, and according to Kaling, her parents never stood in the way of her dreams. Netflix's Never Have I Ever follows newcomer Maitreyi Ramakrishnan as Devi, an Indian-American high schooler who's trying to find her place in an unforgiving world. Kaling, who co-created the show, has made it clear that the series isn't autobiographical. However, Kaling did take it as an opportunity to put a teenager like herself front and center, explaining, "Nerds are not always the wallflowers, the quiet ones. We're ambitious with obnoxious personalities and want to have sex and dreams like all the other kids." Although Kaling acknowledged that there has been a resurgence of nerds thanks to movies like Booksmart, she noted, "We haven't seen an ethnic nerd." Kaling said she considers herself incredibly lucky to get to tell Devi's story, as she is deeply familiar with the character's struggles, particularly since Devi is also a first-generation American with Indian immigrant parents just like Kaling. Kaling felt she was in the perfect position to write this story, as the memories still felt fresh while being far enough removed to give her perspective. Mindy Kaling has worked her butt off to get the position she's in, and she knows it. As she explained in an interview with The Guardian, "A journalist asked me if I have imposter syndrome, and I said, I actually don't because I've really put in the time, and I could tell he thought I was kind of cocky." In 2019, Kaling wrote and co-starred in Late Night, a dramatic comedy which follows the story of a so-called diversity hire. Kaling revealed that the story was based in part on her experience working on The Office, saying, "For a long time I was really embarrassed about that. No one on The Office said anything to me about it, but they all knew, and I was acutely aware of that. It took me a while to realize that I was just getting the access other people had because of who they knew."
She's like a diversity hire or something, man. She'll be here 13 weeks. She's like a single mom or something.
I'm not a single mom, by the way. I just look like one. And I guess I dress like one.
Although Mindy Kaling has ascended to the higher echelons of Hollywood, she remains a victim of racist and sexist attitudes. In fact, as she told Elle, during the filming of the Mindy Project, a security guard mistook her for an interloper, even as Kaling was passing a massive billboard with her face on it. She joked, "It really doesn't matter how much money I have. I'm treated badly with enough regularity that it keeps me humble." Kaling didn't sign up to be any kind of role model. However, once she realized how much of an impact her career was having on young women of color, her perspective changed. Whenever Kaling is out and about, she's often approached by shy, unfailingly polite young women who tell her that she's an inspiration. As a result, Kaling feels it's important to be a voice for these women. She's conquered the entertainment world, but Mindy Kaling admits motherhood didn't come as easily to her. According to USA Today, Kaling always knew she wanted to be a mom someday, but still wasn't ready when the time came. "I don't think anyone is ever ready. I definitely knew I wanted kids, but the decision, it was not something that I had planned." She's never revealed the father of her children, Catherine and Spencer, and frequently refers to herself as a single mother. She's fiercely committed to them, however, taking her kids everywhere, even when it means traveling for work. Although Kaling didn't consider herself maternal, bonding with Catherine came very naturally to her, with the actress revealing, "I have been really surprised by how much I crave time with her, just that there was a side of me that could really enjoy being around the baby."
I'd like to be the fun mom. I know I'm going to be the dorky mom, so if I could be kind of fun too, I think that would be nice.
In a 2023 ceremony, President Joe Biden presented Mindy Kaling with a National Medal of the Arts for her work in television, film, and books. The honorees included other pop culture heavy hitters such as Bruce Springsteen, Julia Louis-Dreyfus, and Vera Wang. However, Kaling was honored specifically for her work in celebrating the immigrant experience in the US and uplifting women of color. In a video shared on Kaling's Instagram, fans can see the United States Marine Band greeting her with the theme song to her breakout show The Office as she entered the White House. Kaling's post also gave fans a rare look at her two children, Catherine and Spencer, who were dressed to the nines for their trip to 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue. In the photo, Catherine can be seen wearing a beautiful white ruffled dress, with Spencer looking adorable in his toddler-sized suit. The ceremony turned out to be even more of a family affair when Kaling took the opportunity to pay tribute to her mother, who passed away in 2012 from pancreatic cancer. The comedy icon also shared on Instagram that it was almost too much to take in to hear President Biden speak about my parents, their journey to the United States, my late mother's dreams for me, and the power of comedy to make people understand each other.
I've been surprised at how my relationship with her has continued even though she's not here.
In her 2011 memoir, Is Everyone Hanging Out Without Me?, Mindy Kaling shared that she expected to be, quote, chubby for life. However, Kaling has since surprised fans after appearing on multiple red carpets with a noticeably slimmed down figure. Kaling lost at least 40 pounds after making life-changing adjustments to her eating and exercise habits. One of Kaling's most stunning looks of the 2023 awards season was a bright white corseted gown that she wore on Hollywood's biggest night of the year, the 95th Academy Awards ceremony. The bone corseting of the gown included peekaboo-style windows along Kaling's midriff, with the blinding white of the fabric contrasting beautifully with the star's dark complexion. Kaling paired her Vera Wang dress with a smoky eye, a mauve-colored lip, and a sleek half-up, half-down hairstyle. She surprised fans once again when she changed into an all-black version of the same gown when it came time to present an award on the Dolby Theater stage. Now with a bright red lip, Kaling presented the award for Best Original Score alongside fellow actor John Cho. Kaling has been open about her health journey in the past, telling Entertainment Tonight in 2022, "I eat what I like to eat. If I do any kind of restrictive diet, it never really works for me. I just eat less of it." Life has changed drastically for Mindy Kaling since her days on The Office. Now, Kaling is spending more of her time behind the camera than in front of it. The writer-actress-producer has now created a verifiable television empire with her work on The Sex Lives of College Girls, Never Have I Ever, and the recent animated Velma adaptation. Kaling's 2023 Scooby-Doo spin-off takes place in a universe where the Mystery Gang characters have not yet become the expert detectives we know and love, but are just bumbling teenagers trying to solve a local murder. This time around, the leader of the pack is a nerdy go-getter Velma, voiced by Kaling herself. Her influence is clear, with Velma including an East Asian Daphne and South Asian Velma, representation that was nowhere to be seen in the original incarnation of Scooby-Doo. In an interview with Variety, she said that sparking conversation was one of her main goals with Velma. That has certainly happened, with fans and critics alike flocking to the internet to voice their strong opinions about the show, all of which has paid off in the ratings. According to the Daily Mirror, Velma has raked in more viewers than any other animated series available on HBO Max. When Kaling took to Instagram to share her stunning Oscars look with her fans, the snap came along with an eyebrow-raising caption. The dress was designed by Vera Wang, who is most famous for her wedding gowns, leading Kaling to quip, "Also, who knows if I am ever getting married? I am wearing as many Vera Wang gowns as I can." Though Kaling has been publicly single for a number of years and has never confirmed the identity of her children's father, that hasn't stopped fans from imagining a future romance for their idol. Kaling's complicated relationship with The Office co-star BJ Novak in particular remains a fascinating topic among her fans, some of whom even speculated that the Instagram post was a reference to Kaling's ex. Kaling's multicultural upbringing is evident even in her full given name, Vera Mindy Kaling. In a 2011 interview, Kaling stated that her parents named her Vera after an incarnation of a Hindu goddess, but chose to refer to their daughter as Mindy because they thought it was a cute American name after seeing the titular character from the hit TV show Mork and Mindy. Since making it big on The Office, Kaling has made it a point to include South Asian representation in all of her work, and to speak openly about how important it is for young South Asian girls to see people who look like them in popular media. In 2023, Kaling even co-hosted a special celebration of South Asian Oscar nominees. Kaling showed up at the event dripping in jewels and dressed in a silver-toned sari designed by Falguni Shane Peacock, who she shouted out on her Instagram page. Keep on slaying it, Mindy.